Oh, well, we'll get it next time.
Yeah.
So me and you just in the first segment. Cool.
All right.
Good morning, Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome to another edition. Good morning, Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome to another edition of the JV Sports Show. James Poovey alongside my co-host Vince Delicio. Vince, another busy week here in the Valley of the Sun. Sports are starting to pick up, and we are inching closer and closer to what we hope is going to be another high school football season, my friend.
You know what? This week I spent glued to my phone. I talked to so many coaches, quite a few parents, and just getting a pulse of what's going on around the community. A lot of different things happening out there, James, and all centered around these phases: phase one, phase two, phase three. And ultimately, I asked, I said, what does all this stuff mean? And it's been out in the news. Different districts have different interpretations of what they deem as safe, as and being able to participate. And obviously phase one, social distancing, workouts, no football. Phase two, you could start to use a football, you get a little closer, do things. So far, so good. Districts are for the most part around phase two right now. They'll get into a phase three, hopefully next week, week after, and then all bets are off.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm excited to talk to one of our guests today. We're going to be joined by Coach Cody Cameron from ArizonaVarsity.com. He's been out over the past couple of weeks, Fence, visiting his different schools, and I'm kind of interested to get his take on how the mood is with the kids. I know obviously they're excited to get back after it, but talk to me about the safety protocols that are in place, and do you notice the social distancing thing, and how difficult is that? So I'm excited to talk to Cody this morning. We got a lot of special guests on with us here today.
We got a lot of special guests on, and we got a lot of things going on. So, stick around. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us an hour of your Saturday morning. It's a lot of fun, and we try to keep it light. We try to stay positive. Our goal is not to beat anybody up that comes on the show. We're honored to have you on as guests. We do ask some questions from time to time because we want to know what's going on out there and what people's take is on everything that's happening. But we're the eternal optimists, James, right?
Yes, we are.
We are.
Sometimes to our own detriment, but yes, we are.
It is, but we don't. I mean, we don't have to beat people up. That's not the purpose.
Sure.
But we want to ask the questions that are in everybody's minds, but at the same time, we want to stay positive, and that's what we're all about. We like to keep it loose, have fun, and that's kind of the name of the game with this show because there's so many negatives out there. I was watching the news this morning. And breaking news, this happened, that happened, bad stuff. Someone got shot. I'm tired of that stuff. Let's keep it fun. Let's keep it light. And let's address some of the issues going on out there. And let's look forward to sports, to young people getting out there and doing things and having fun and running our broadcast and doing the live stream and people watch and just have fun with it.
Yeah, and get the coaches shows back and all that stuff. We enjoy doing that stuff so much. So we're looking forward to everything getting back to normal with that. We hope everyone's still continuing to take precautions as they're out and about. Continue to wear your mask, be smart about things, wash your hands, don't touch a whole bunch of stuff unnecessarily. Just use common sense, really, Vince, is what it comes down to.
Yes, sir.
In our second segment today, we're going to talk with Coach Brian Wagner from the Perry volleyball team. They've been quite successful over the past couple seasons, so we'll get an idea of what's going on out there in the East Valley. And then we're also going to be talking with Ben Wilson, who is a play-by-play voice of the Lady Rebels basketball team up at UNLV. He also calls some soccer with me on Spalk Talk, which is very interesting. We're able to do some broadcasts from home, so we'll get some insight on that from him. And we're also he's going to be telling us a little bit about his broadcasting career. He's done some work with Mountain West Conference. He's been on ESPN doing some baseball for the SEC network. So I'm excited to talk with him and get him on the show here today.
I'm curious to, I'm really excited to have Ben Wilson on because here's a guy that, he's a young guy and he's been out there grinding and slowly moving up the broadcast chain. But I'm curious to know what the experience has been. And I guess I can ask you this, James, as well, because you guys are calling games out there. Now you're calling international soccer, but you're calling sports and curious about the vibe and curious to get his take. I got to imagine people that have never even watched soccer before because there's nothing else on are watching soccer.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Yeah.
And there's no stands, there's no fans in the stands. Obviously,
Wow.
it's down in Nicaragua, so how many ever thousands of miles away that is down in Central America. But it's exciting. We have the audio coming from the field level, so you can hear everything that's being said on the field level because there's no fan crowd noise to distract you from anything. So you can hear the coaches getting on the players and the players getting on each other and coaching each other up. So it's pretty interesting. You think it would be kind of ho hum and kind of dead in the background and lifeless, but it's really not. It's interesting. You'd be surprised.
James, I don't know a lot about calling soccer games, but the only job I want is I want to be the guy that yells, "Goal!" Which one of you
Yes,
guys does that?
that's Ben. Yeah, Ben
Oh,
does the play-by-play, and
see,
I provide the color
I would almost,
commentary. So
I would pay him to allow me to do that.
yeah,
That's,
just to
that's all.
call one.
Just bring, yeah,
Well,
one
the
thing.
trickiest part is you'll be talking about something, and then all of a sudden there'll be a goal that happened to us last week in the game. As a matter of fact, we were kind of because soccer there's a lot of quote dead time, if you will, because there's a
Yeah.
lot of non-goal scoring. Typically, a game's 2-1, 3-1,
Oh,
1-1. So you're talking about stuff, and all of a sudden somebody breaks away on one and hits you unexpectedly, and then you're talking over the goal. So it's interesting, but we have a lot of fun with it. It's,
that's
it's
gotta
definitely a good
be.
time.
I can't. Just to call a game that is
Yes.
1-0, 90-minute game with one goal scored. I can't even imagine.
7 o'clock tonight, Arizona time. So I'll
Oh
send out the
boy.
link on our JV Sports Show Twitter, and you guys can check it out and tune in.
Yeah.
We'll be providing the English commentary.
I beg you got to have me on as a guest sometime, just so that I can, I don't know, do that. Or I don't know, if you run out of stuff to talk, I can't even imagine. You got to run out of stuff to talk about. I mean, there's only so many things you could talk about, somebody's shoes or or the town that they're from, but over a game like that.
Well,
So
Ben has some unbelievable information that he provides for these games. He has stats like I have never seen before. So
wow.
there is tons to talk about during the game, and we somehow fit in a goal or two here and there too. So it's always a
Yeah.
good time, and we're gonna have fun again tonight. So, and then we're also going to be talking with Cody Cameron and get, like I said, the little temperature check on Arizona high school varsity football. He's been going around the valley over the last week or two and checking out some of these teams, as have some of the other high school reporters in the valley. So I'm curious to just kind of see what's going on out there. I haven't got a chance to get out there myself yet, but I'm looking forward to hopefully doing that very soon.
Great. Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, there are so many high school reporters out there, and they all do such a great job. But this Cody Cameron, I see his name everywhere. So I'm curious to know. Just he is very deeply embedded into the pulse of what's going on with high school football, and curious to hear what his take is, and get his opinion. I'm assuming you know this guy pretty well, huh, James?
I know him fairly well. He's been on our broadcast a couple times with me and Kevin over there at Red Mountain. We had him on
Yeah.
at halftime. He was on I think 2 or 3 times with us last season, and it's great because
Yeah.
I just give him my headset, and him and Kevin just go at it, and I
Yeah.
just sit back and eat some popcorn and watch. So it's a good time.
Good, good. Yeah, there are many out there, but there are a few that are really deeply embedded in the community. And obviously, you hear names like Obert and McCabe, who's on the other dial right now and down the way, and Richard Smith out in the West Valley.
And happy anniversary to our broadcast partners on 1580 as well, doing 10 years of the AZ Preps 365 morning show. So congratulations to Brett Quintine, Jose Garcia, and
Yes.
James Mello over there.
Yeah, Jose's a great guy. I know Jose from his time at the Arizona Republic, and I'll always go into do stuff for the Phoenix Union Sports Hall of Fame, needing information, archived information through the Republic. He's always willing to jump in, and he's all about local sports and doing what's right by the community. So Jose and team, congratulations. Great job. Keep it up. And so James, what else? What else is going on? We've been doing stuff out there we can't really talk about right now. I'm so excited. I'm itching.
Yeah, we got a couple
Share it.
things in the works, Vince. Our fingers are crossed. My toes are crossed too. You probably
Yeah.
can't see it on camera, but we got a couple things we're very excited about, and we hoping those are going to come to fruition here, and we can make maybe a very special announcement here in the next week or two, possibly, Vince.
Oh man, I can't wait. I can't wait. And stick with us, folks, because for those of you hardcore JV Sports Show fans,
Do we
you
have some
never know.
hardcore fans? I'd like to hear
You
from
know
those
what?
hardcore fans.
Everybody's got people that are just hardcore. Mom and dad, obviously, and your wife, Tara, and my wife Cheryl, and the kids. But outside of that circle, I think there's a small contingent of people that wear their JV Sports Show shirts loud and proud every week.
Yes. We got to get those shirts done, by the way, those JV Sports Show shirts you're speaking of.
For now, it's just a
But
Sharpie.
I would,
yes,
I would also like to say hi to my mom, who is listening in Crandall, Texas right now.
Oh.
She got to listen for the first time last week, and she said she tuned in and she loved the show. So hi, Mom. I've always wanted to do that. So Mom, glad you're listening. She might call in, but she's actually going to be moving out here very soon, I think, Vince. So we're trying to work on getting that done, hopefully in the fall sometime. So we're praying about that, and hopefully that'll all the pieces will fall into place to make that happen. So that would be great.
That is awesome. Congratulations and welcome to the show, to the JV Sports Show family, Mama.
Yes.
Mama Poovy. So
yes.
Me. So anyway. So yeah, that's great. So other things going on in general out in the community, just coaches gearing up, wanting to get out there, itching to get out there. Schools have opened up, obviously. It's still, for the most part, schools are online. But kids are working out. Young people are out there working out. Parents are itching to get their kids back out there and stay active in a safe manner. But yeah, I mean, it's all about sports. It's all about football. And today we got the best of the best on. We're doing something a little different. We're going volleyball in our JV High School Spotlight segment. And if you're going to go volleyball, you got to go all in and you bring on the best of the best. So we're bringing on Perry High School, and that's Coach Brian Wagner. The assistant coach extraordinaire, who's got quite the storied background. He's a great guy, great coach, very well spoken. Looking forward to getting Coach Wagner on in our next segment.
And kudos to the Perry volleyball team as well. They have a fantastic website, Vince. I was going to do a little bit of research before our time with Coach Wagner this morning, and everything you needed was right there in front of you on their website. So fantastic job out there for them. And we want everyone to always remember that if you miss an episode of the JV Sports Show, or you miss part of today's show, or maybe an interview that you wanted to hear and you didn't get a chance to catch it, we're always available on demand. You can go to SoundCloud and hear individual shows. You can also get us on all your favorite podcast platforms, whether that's iHeartRadio or Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're everywhere. So
Yes.
Make sure and check it out. If you miss an episode or you miss an interview, we try to retweet some of those individual interviews if we have a chance to cut those up too. So look for those on our social media as well.
Yeah, and please patronize our partners too. They've stuck with us, and they're all great folks. You got Sal's Gilbert Pizza out in Gilbert, Arizona. You've got Vets Built Contracting, our old friend Bob Jenkins. You have Angel Dentistry, Dr. Amber Angel, Stessa Movement Company, Anna and Keith out there.
Buffalo Wild Wings,
Buffalo
surprise.
Surprise. Yeah, so good stuff. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Come right back on the JV Sports Show for our JV High School Spotlight. Coach Brian Wagner, Perry High School Volleyball. We'll be right back.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Good job, Vince.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, let me pull up this. I love it. She's always like, let's just cut out all the other stuff. Let's talk cash.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's go right to the cash.
Right to the cash. You wait. You got three that they're going to be hitting you up.
Oh, man. Ooh.
All right, so
lost 3-2 to the Basher Bears. All right, you ready to bring Coach Wagner in here?
We're ready.
Here we go. We got to make sure and get him on the phone. I guess I should have done this a minute ago.
Kayla's going to run Kevin's spot during the 9:30 break.
Okay, perfect.
There he is.
Coach Wagner, how are you, sir?
Coach, how are you?
I'm doing all right, guys. How are you?
Awesome.
Good.
I've got the radio in my ear on
Perfect.
my phone, and then you guys are okay.
You're doing it. You
right.
got it, Coach.
Yeah,
He's even got the AirPods going, Vince.
that's it.
Perfect.
Yeah, that helps.
Veteran move. Thank you for joining us this morning. We really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, for sure.
We're going to ask some tough questions today,
No,
Coach,
we're
so I hope you're ready.
I'm sure you are.
Nah, we're easy going.
I don't know if we've asked a tough question yet. Have we, Vince?
I'm not a doctor. That's my answer.
There you go.
Good stuff.
Am I going to need to mute my Zoom audio on the computer so you don't hear it on the phone, or no?
You can probably just turn it down just a little bit, just so it doesn't feed back into your earbud. But other than that, you sound good.
Yeah, because you don't want to accidentally mute the mic into the computer.
Right. Okay.
No, that's perfect. You sound great.
Good.
Really simple stuff, Coach. We're just going to tell us about your team, tell us about your coaches, some returning players that are going to really carry
Right.
the load for the Pumas and all that good stuff.
Yep.
Vince, you want to bring us back?
Sure.
Let that play for a minute, though.
Welcome back to the JV Sports Show. A little foreigner today. That's kind of our theme, even though we're all American here, but a little foreigner. Anyway, welcome back. There's a lot I want to say, but can't. All right, folks, welcome to JV Sports Show. This is our special segment here that we run every week. Aaron, you got that queued up? Welcome to the high school spotlight segment.
He was still fading out the corner. It's all good.
I just laughing about it. Anyway, with us today. So, we talk about, you talk about running sports. We're a sports show. We're a community show. We're a special, we love running everything great about the community. We're not just a football show. We're not just a basketball show. We're a volleyball show. We're a baseball show. We're a soccer show. And if you're going to go in, you got to go all in. And we're going with the best of the best today. We've got with us Perry High School volleyball coach, one of the great coaches out there at Perry, Coach Brian Wagner. Good morning, Coach Wagner.
Good morning, fellas. Thanks for having me on.
So, Coach Fred, we talked to him this week. He said he was going to be out on a lake somewhere. I don't know. I think that was just an excuse. He said,
I'm actually not sure that he's even out of town.
Yeah.
Pop flying.
You say, I mean, he said, you got to get the guy that's the most well-spoken on staff, and that's Coach Wagner. So I don't know. We're going to throw you some tough questions today, Coach.
I'll do my best.
Okay. Coach, so you guys are, you also coach beach volleyball out there, right?
I actually don't. No, Fred's got that beach volleyball situation under control. And actually one of our other indoor coaches, Melanie Heller, helps out with the beach program over there.
Coach Wagner, you guys came up just shy of the championship last year, losing 3-2 to the Basha Bears. Talk about that club last year a little bit. Give us a little brief synopsis of them, and then what do you have coming back this year, as you guys are obviously going to be hungry to for a little bit of revenge, if you will.
Yeah, I think we might. We were really good last year, really good enough to win it. And I think every year the hope is that you're in the mix, and you get to play those big matches at the end of the year. And we handled our semifinal really well, and we were right there in the final. And I think we played well enough to win. Basha was really good also. And we had seen each other a couple of times over the course of the year. We had taken one, they had taken one. And as you mentioned, it was real close. It still hurts, honestly, to talk about, but I think we got a shot at maybe even being better this year. And we've got some girls that were in that match. And we'll have learned from that match. And I think we're real hungry from what I've seen so far.
Well, the only thing better than number 2 is number 1. And so the expectation is to hoist the championship at the end of the season. How are the off-season workouts been going for you? And what do you got coming back?
We haven't had much off-season workouts. I mean, everybody goes and plays club volleyball, and we encourage that. That's great. Our girls are on elite national level teams all over the place at different clubs. And unfortunately, that club season got cut short back in March. So a few clubs were able to start doing things again in June. We haven't really done much of anything until a couple of weeks ago. We've been in the gym just a little bit. But we have a really good group of seniors coming back. Our setter who ran the offense for us last year, Jenna Heller's coming back as a senior. We've got Ella Rudd, who was a starting outside hitter for us last year. She's coming back. Starting middle blocker, Michaela Long coming back. We have plenty of firepower coming back, and some girls that were one out because of injury last year, and then others that were just backups last year that are going to be ready to go. So we're really excited about what we've got, and I think what we'll be able to put out on the floor this year.
We're visiting here with Coach Brian Wagner from the Perry Pumas volleyball team. Coach Wagner, when are you guys going to be able to get together officially as a team for the first time and have an official first practice? And how excited must they be to square off again in the first game against those Badger Bears on September 24th?
Wow.
Yeah, that is the current schedule. We're not entirely sure that that's going to remain our schedule. I think they're still messing around with that. We will see Badger twice because they're in our region. Our first practice or first day of tryouts is slated for August 31st, and as we're getting closer to that, they haven't pushed it back yet. We've already been pushed back plenty of times, as you guys all know. But as we're getting closer, we're thinking, okay, that's 9 days away now. Hopefully that's the day where we can get going, have tryouts for varsity, JV, and the freshman team. And hopefully we can just keep rolling from there as long as everyone's staying safe and healthy.
Yeah, no rest for the weary, Coach. So I'm curious, you don't have to name specific schools, but give us some conferences of college conferences of coaches that have been sniffing around during this off season that have been reaching out to you guys and inquiring about some of your student athletes.
Well, we've got girls going to, we've got girls going to the WCC and going to, there's 2 girls going to the WCC, another girl going to a Big West school. One of our athletes, Michaela Long, our starting middle blocker, this one's incredible. Last month, she won the national championship in discus. So she was volleyball track for college. And then all of a sudden, and I talked to her a couple of weeks ago, she kind of can go where she wants is what she's telling me. She's talked to all of the Pac-12, Big Ten schools. And now she's kind of got her choice of where she can go participate in track as she throws both discus and shot put. I think she was 3rd in shot put and 1st in discus nationally in the big meet. And I don't know how that meet worked. I don't think they all got together, but either way, she's a national champion. So we're excited to have her back out, but I think her future is going to be in track.
Yeah.
Wow. No kidding. She might even have Olympic aspirations, Coach.
I believe she does. And she comes from a very athletic family. She's got a brother playing football at ASU, a brother playing football at NAU. She comes by it rightly, and she is an absolute fierce competitor.
It's already in the DNA.
Yeah,
it's already in there. Well, you guys at Perry have a unique situation. You have what's called Perry Live 365, and you guys have an Emmy award-winning broadcast set up over there at Perry High School. I was fortunate enough to fill in for your football broadcasters one week when they were out. Kevin Derryberry and I filled in and called one of the Perry High School games. And you talk about a setup, Vince. They got instant replay. Everything's a little toggle switch right there. It's unbelievable. Talk about that broadcast program over there and how much has that benefited. How much is that going to benefit you guys going forward, especially since there's not going to be a whole lot of fans in attendance, at least at the first part of when we get things kicked off again?
Yeah, that's exactly right. We found out, it kind of got confirmed for us yesterday that we will not have fans in attendance. So that will help us out a lot. I mean, we can always, it's funny, I'm a little bit of a volley dork, so I'm watching college volleyball broadcasts whenever I can. And some of those are just a stationary camera set off the baseline, no commentary. I'll watch it anyway. But to have those kids running that broadcast with the replay, it's amazing. I know our girls love it. Our parents, I know, like my in-laws living in California, they'll watch our broadcasts because it's so good. It's just like watching any professional level broadcast.
James, we need to get out there and at least maybe they'll let us say a few words. I don't know. I don't want to, try and commandeer a broadcast, particularly when it's just professionally done by the students, but that would be fun. That sounds like a lot of fun to do. So Coach Wagner, what your experience? You've been there for quite a few years now, and you're no stranger to the game. You had a career yourself in it.
Yeah, I did. I've been coaching with Fred Mann for 17 years now.
He just kind of rolled his eyes when he said that.
I was trying to do the math. It's hard math. No. Yeah. Fred was my coach when I started playing. He was the only coach I really ever had before I went off to play in college.
Wow. And was this at Perry then also? You're a graduate?
No, I was at Mountain Point. So
Okay,
I played at
gotcha.
Mountain Point, and Fred was there for a few years before I showed up there as a freshman. And then after college, I came back and worked with him there for a long time. And then we made the move out to Perry about 7 years ago. It's really nice. It's my boundary school. It's Fred's boundary school, or at least, yeah, I think it still is. So it's really nice to be close to home with kids in the community, running into people, or once in a while, we'd have the kids over for team breakfast and stuff like that. So it's really nice to be out there at Perry. We absolutely love it. But yeah, I played for Fred many, many years ago. So our relationship goes back to, gosh, I guess it's 1995 was when he first started coaching me. And I absolutely love working with the guy. He's the best coach in the state. I don't think it's a question. I'd love to get him an indoor state championship over here at Perry because he deserves it. He's fantastic.
Coach, another question for you. So the balance between, because parents say, well, you got to help my kid get off to, go off to college. But at the same time, when you're coaching, you got to coach your kids. You got to coach your kids, and you got to try and win games that ultimately develop them, win some games. But at the same time, you have to try and move your kids along.
That's right.
What is that process like in terms of the time commitment and, in working with these because colleges will just drop it, because I did it in football. Colleges will just drop in on you, and say, hey, I want to watch some film on this kid. And you're trying to teach a class, or you're trying to, run practice. And all of a sudden you got a college coming in to talk to you, a college coach, and you got to stop things and go over and talk to them. What has that process been like?
Well, I mean, we're really fortunate at Perry. We've had so many great kids come through our program over the last 7 years we've been there. It's remarkable. It's kind of a funny little nugget. We've had kids that we have cut from varsity that have gone on to play college volleyball. That's how loaded we've been at Perry over the years. And it's not because those kids weren't good and didn't deserve to make a varsity team. It's just you can only fit so many kids on a roster. So yeah, we do have situations where kids maybe not be in the lineup for us.
Yeah.
And they're still getting looks. Luckily, there's club volleyball, and those college coaches pay attention to that circuit as well. And those kids can find a team where they are going to get playing time. But at the top end of our program for the last 5 years, we've got kids going D1 all the time. I think we're going to have 4 or 5 Division I committed kids starting for us probably this year. So one of our kids, a junior libero, just committed to Air Force this week, which is phenomenal.
Oh,
we're really excited for her.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Fantastic. Well, Coach Brian Wagner, thank you so much for joining us this morning from Perry Volleyball. We wish you guys nothing but continued success, and we look forward to hopefully checking out that game on the 24th. If it does hold against Basha, that should be a great one. So thank you for joining us this morning on the JV Sports Show. We really appreciate it, and we appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us on.
Awesome. Coach Brian Mann. Coach Brian Wagner. Coach Fred Mann, head volleyball coach. Sorry about that, Brian. I apologize. Coach Fred, you missed out. This was great, but Brian definitely did a great job for you and for your program. And a lot of great things going on in the East Valley. And stick around. Come right back. Listen through the commercial. We got a special funny tribute here by an old friend of yours, James Kevin Derryberry. And listen through the commercial break. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, boy.
We'll be right back with Ben Wilson. Go JV.
Thank you, Brian. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so Ben is ready. I want to hear a little bit of this first, and I'll bring Ben in. Just the airport one?
No. Here it comes. Here it comes. I love the techno. What is this Midtown studio?
It's completely fake.
Oh, man. The Deuce. Here it comes.
And I can see him sitting there recording it at his table, just dancing to it at the same time. All right, let's get Ben in here. Oh man, KDB. I don't even know how we get a game called with all the shenanigans. I don't even know how we fit in a game call in the middle of all of it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna bring Ben in. Ready?
All right, gotcha.
There he is.
What's happening, guys?
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Good. Ben, you got to call into the studio.
Can you call into the station as well on your phone?
Yeah. Let me.
And then you can just kind of put that on speakerphone and just turn the volume down on that and just set it there or whatever you want to do. It's perfect.
We're coming back right now.
I got to get my phone then.
Okay. Thank you, pal.
Yeah.
He's like, thanks, man. Welcome back to the JV Sports Show, a beautiful Saturday morning here in the Valley of the Sun. James Poovey alongside my co-host Vince D'Alicio. That was fantastic, man. I don't know what else to say, Vince. I'm still laughing about that.
Kevin is something else. I don't know if he just sits in his house like all night and just has the windows drawn, no outside
You're
world,
picturing
no
it,
reality. Yeah, there's no reality to him. And he's just out there, just whatever comes to mind, he hits record and he starts talking.
Yeah, that's basically it. He hits the record button and just goes with it. I love it.
Yeah, we got to have him on. Anyway, all right. Well, welcome back. James, please introduce our next guest that you work with this guy.
Well, we are pleased now to be joined by the voice of the Lady Runnin' Rebels basketball team up at UNLV. He also has a bunch of other gigs. His name is Ben Wilson. I'm pleased to bring him on the show now. Ben, how are you today, sir?
Hey, doing great, James. It's sort of random how we ended up working together on different broadcasts, but
okay.
But thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. We appreciate it. We're going to call a little more soccer tonight, but I wanted to get a little bit of information from you as far as your broadcasting background.
Aaron,
Go ahead.
He called in? Okay, we need you to call in, Ben, please. Do you have the number to call into our studio so we can get?
I do not. So yeah, go.
Yeah, let me send it to you right now. Sorry, buddy.
Hey, that's the beauty of live.
Exactly right.
Live broadcasts. Yeah, no, I do not have your number, but I will go ahead and call in.
Anyway, James, give us a little bit of background, James, on Ben and what he's done, where he's been.
Well, Ben's been with the Mountain West Conference for a couple of years now, I believe. He's also done some stuff with the SEC Network on ESPN, some baseball. I know you did some stuff up at Missouri. Is that correct, Ben?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Okay, so done some work with Missouri, and then also, James, Ben is doing some things with you. You guys are calling soccer. How long has that been going on, James?
We actually started that back in the spring. We both do a gig for a company called Spalk, where we're able to do remote broadcasting from our homes, and then they provide us a feed, a master feed, and then we provide the English commentary because there's a lot of leagues and so forth around the world that prefer to have English commentary along with whatever their native language commentary is. And so Ben and I are just pleased to be able to provide that. So it's good stuff.
Ben, where are you from?
I'm from Wisconsin originally. It's been kind of a interesting path to Las Vegas, but yeah, I mean, I appreciate you guys having me on. It's been just a crazy 10 months, really. I took the gig with the Mountain West and a few other conferences back in October of last year. So feels like that was about 10 years ago. The reality is it's only been about 10 months, but been kind of random how James and I getting to work together. I think it's just a great example of how you get into this pandemic and nothing's going on. And I think all of us who work in the industry just so desperate and wanting to have games to call. And so through a lot of these, some of these startup companies like the one James and I work for, you have the opportunity to do games in other countries, which is something you wouldn't ever expect. But it's also shown that at the same time, I feel like it's a good lesson for people in the business and broadcasting anywhere. You still learn a lot about these players. They all have really interesting stories. They just happen to be in a country that doesn't get a lot of coverage that most of us would never think of covering. So it's it's been a good experience. It keeps you active doing games, kind of almost like off-season repetition, so to speak. But it's been a lot of fun so far, and looking forward to getting back to Las Vegas soon. We're hoping to go back to work. I do work for SiriusXM as well. Have the NFL season starting, of course, which is big in Vegas with the sports betting industry. So that is on the horizon as well.
Ben, rewind a little bit and tell us when you first got the broadcasting bug, because I don't even know this myself, even having worked with you. When did you first kind of discover broadcasting and figure out that, hey, this is something I'm really passionate about. I'd like to pursue this.
Yeah, for me, James, one of those things where knew it was something I always wanted to get into, and I ended up going to University of Missouri. I think you had mentioned that a second ago. That was one of the places I worked for through SEC Network, and just something that fell in love with right away. My first gig was actually doing play-by-play for the Missouri volleyball team, and just getting that experience traveling with a team, being part of the ins and outs of just covering a program on a daily basis at the college level first was just so much fun, and doing all sorts of stuff in that area first. That's where I got my starts in the mid-Missouri area. So a lot of high school. I know you guys cover the NAIA, a lot of NAIA football when I first started out. So that's kind of how things began for me. And I have family in Las Vegas. My grandma lived there for a really long time, and having some connections there sort of helped me move out west. And I love it out here. It's great as far as so many different conferences. I do games for the Big West as well, in that the whole California, Arizona, Nevada footprint. So it's really easy to travel, do games for different networks, and yeah, it's just one of those things I've never really envisioned doing anything else. So it's been a lot of fun.
How much prep time is involved with getting ready for one game?
No, it's a good question. I think let's just say you're doing college basketball, for instance, from scratch. Let's say you haven't seen either team. I think the next gig I have, which who knows if it'll actually happen, is a Thanksgiving gig in Orange County, and I think Oakland is one of the teams in there. Fresno State. So let's say I'm doing Oakland, Fresno State men's basketball. If I'm starting from scratch, going through every player, their complete history, also all the statistical information, obviously, but also any interesting storylines about their background, anything they do extracurricularly that I think would add to the broadcast. When you think about all those things combined with the team history, coach history, all of that, probably looking at about 6 to 8 hours or so per team when I start completely from scratch. A big challenge for us, I feel like, as broadcasters, when you're in a really busy part of your season, is trying to condense that. But if I've got a lot of time and I've got just one game, I'll go pretty heavy on that. I can condense it into maybe 3 to 4 hours a team, especially the holiday season is incredibly busy for us. We're usually calling 8-10 games in a quick window, and I usually have a couple different Thanksgiving tournaments. So yeah, I'd say on average it ends up being in that 10-12 hour range. When you get into football, that's a monstrous endeavor when you're doing college football. So it ends up being 3-4 hours over a few days each. And XFL was one of the last gigs I had before the shutdown. So prepping for XFL games, that took probably in that 12-hour range or so.
Let me tell you, Vince, I've learned a lot from Ben just doing a few games with him over the last few months, as far as, because his prep is absolutely phenomenal. You think, we get some good boards from OUAZ over there with some information. He has information that even people in Nicaragua probably don't even know about their own team down there. Wow. Like, this guy likes this flavor of ice cream. He likes to eat it on Wednesdays after 3 p.m. I'm being facetious, but it's unbelievable, Vince, the work that he puts in, and that's why his broadcasts are top notch. There's no gray area. There's no like, oh, why is he so good? Because he puts in the time.
So in other words, he's not like us, where we just kind of roll out of bed and maybe if we're lucky, comb our hair, brush our teeth on that given day, and just show up and ready to call a game, or
maybe we get the season record if we're lucky. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Wow, that's impressive. So speaking of which, Ben, what kind of advice can you give to guys like us that want to cut our teeth and really get in and broadcast more stuff?
Right. And I think, looking at having worked with James a few times, I think first off, I mean, having the energy that you guys do, that's the first step. And I think you guys are in a really good position because you're clearly passionate about the sports you're covering and you want to be there. I think that's the first step. It can be, I think, really hard for guys who are just breaking into the industry to understand that, yeah, when you start off, I mean, high school, small college, that's your ticket to growing, because you have to start at that level. You have to do so many games. And I think what we just talked about with the prep, that's such a big part of it. I feel like that's probably 85% of what makes a successful broadcast, just because you have to have all of that to show that the importance of the game, the context historically, why this matters. But I think once you get into the game too, and something that is really hard for any of us, I think any broadcaster will tell you, it takes a lot of time and over the course of a couple hundred broadcasts to really get your true voice on air and really being yourself. So trying to find that balance between obviously doing all the prep and having all this homework done and being really organized so that it's all in one place, but also remembering that there is a game going on in front of you.
Yep.
And a lot of times you're not going to use much of your prep. I mean, in an ideal setting, you're probably looking at maybe 15-20% of the prep that you actually do is going to go out on air, unless it's a blowout and you've got yourself a 63-0 game at the half and you start digging deep. But I think it's kind of a combination, just having that basis of understanding how much work you have to put in for each broadcast, but also letting yourself have fun, getting really good at the fundamentals so that and one of my broadcast professors would always teach us, you have to be an expert at the rules and the fundamentals so that you can then break them and then know when to drop in a joke or just be yourself or be witty and kind of having that feel and that rhythm. So those are all things that definitely just take time. I didn't really feel like I ever had that as far as my voice and feeling like I had a good rhythm on the air and feeling truly comfortable until maybe 150 games. So we're talking a couple, maybe 2 years out of college. And that's just doing all high school, all small college games at that point. So it's really just, as we always say, it's a labor of love. But if you focus on some of those individual things, just your rhythm and your tempo, not going too fast, which is again hard not to do when a crazy play breaks out in front of you, reminding yourself to stay calm and poised, but at the same time letting yourself have fun and getting excited when big plays happen, while at the same time just having all that prep work done every time so that you know where to go when something big happens in a game.
Ben, in our last minute here with you, is there a particular broadcaster that maybe took you under his or her wing when you first started out and kind of showed you the ropes and made you kind of feel comfortable and give you a little confidence and say, hey, you're doing pretty good at this. You keep working at it. You can maybe make something out of this.
Yeah, no, I've had several mentors who have been just fantastic. Brian Anderson, who I think is calling the TNT game today, I believe one of the Western Conference games for the NBA. So I'm from Milwaukee. He's the Milwaukee Brewers TV play-by-play guy. He's just a tremendous person, and having somebody say early on, you can do this. You have talents. Obviously, you're young, you're raw. There's a lot of things you have to work on, but you can do it. That getting that sort of talk from somebody as established as a guy like BA, and I'd throw Ian Eagle as a mentor of mine who does NFL on CBS, and he's doing NBA right now too. Really established guys who, when they tell you that and they give you some specific things to work on that you can get that you can improve on, that definitely goes a long way when you're young and you're just looking for confidence. So I'd name those two. Adam Amin is another guy who's now at Fox, who just moved there from ESPN, who I've met in person and have known him since I was in college. So those three guys, and there's several others who are great. But our community is nice because a lot of broadcasters remember when they started out, and I think that's something that I try to do. I mean, I work with college kids now who are just coming up, and I think we all remember where we were when we started, and that's a really powerful thing when you're coming up in this business.
Well, Ben Wilson, thank you so much for joining us here this morning. We really appreciate it. Broadcaster for the UNLV Lady Rebels basketball team, among others, Mountain West Conference, all kinds of stuff. I look forward to doing the game again with you tonight, my friend. Thank you for coming on with us, and we really appreciate your time today.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks,
Have a great
Ben.
rest of your show.
Appreciate it. Welcome to Arizona, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes. Okay. Ben Wilson, great guy. And James, you gotta ask Ben. Put in a good word for me because I want to yell goal when someone scores tonight.
Yeah,
So,
Vince wants to get on and call. And he's like, "Are you the one that gets to call goal?" I said, "No, that's Ben." But
Yeah.
that's good.
all
That's
right.
good stuff.
Good deal. Thanks, Ben.
Stay tuned here
Anyway,
on the JV
yeah.
Sports Show. When we come back, we'll visit with Arizona Varsity's Cody Cameron. We'll talk a little Arizona high school football, kind of get the lay of the land and what's going on out there on the scene as we get closer to what is hopefully the 2020 Arizona high school football season. Stay tuned here on the JV Sports Show. We'll be right back.
Go JV.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it, man.
See you tonight. Sweet. All right, Cody's ready too.
Awesome. Good show.
Good stuff, man. Oh, Cam Cox. That's a good idea to play those again. No, I didn't even think about that. That's a great idea. All right, let's get Cody. Here we go. Oh, rocking the Oklahoma State Cowboys.
What's up, guys?
How are you,
Hey.
Cody?
Always good, man. Always
Good. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Hey, no problem at all.
I know you've been cruising around and going to different schools and checking out some stuff. So we just want to wrap with you about that and just what's going on out there and what are the kids thinking? How are they reacting? Is anybody, I don't think anybody's hitting or anything yet, are they? Nobody's even got pads on yet.
No one's hitting. I know they can go in pads, I think the first week of September. But yeah, I've been out to about 12 different campuses already, and I've seen a lot of football.
Great.
And,
so we're going to talk about it.
I
Perfect.
love it.
Have you called in on the phone as well?
I have not called in on phone.
Called in on the phone, if you will, to the radio station, and then you'll just kind of put that on speakerphone. You can turn that all the way down, and then just talk to us on the computer.
Yeah,
and the
we
phone will get your
broadcast
radio
on
audio.
YouTube as well
Gotcha.
as the 1060 AM.
260-1060. 602-260-1060.
602-260-1060.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Perfect.
What am I turning down?
Turn
Which
down your phone volume.
Gotcha.
Or should he turn down his computer volume?
Or maybe your computer volume, just enough so you can hear
Keep
us.
your phone
So it doesn't
volume up.
feed back too much into the phone.
This is Cody Cameron.
All right, Cody, I'm going to put you on hold, and you should be on probably in about, I want to say, 2 minutes. Okay?
Gotcha. Copy that.
Okay. Time.
Perfect.
Awesome.
There you go. Now you can turn that all the way down, that phone volume. Sweet.
Or turn down
Yeah.
the computer volume, probably.
Maybe turn down the computer
Yeah,
volume, Cody.
computer, turn the phone volume up.
No, he's getting his feedback from the station. Turn your phone volume down. That's what it is.
Oh,
The phone volume.
okay. All right.
There we go.
Turn one of them down.
We'll get this down eventually. Welcome back to the JV Sports Show. James Poovey alongside my co-host Vince Delicio. We're pleased now to be joined by Cody Cameron from ArizonaVarsity.com. He's going to give us a breakdown of some local Arizona high school football happenings as he's been out around the valley over the last week or two. Cody, how are you doing today, sir?
I am fantastic. Gyms have been open for about a week now. Getting some great lifts in this past couple of weeks, and it looks like the weather's starting to finally cool down. So good times over here.
Yeah, I looked last night. I think it was about 9 or 10 o'clock at night. I was looking at the TV and the news was just coming on, and it didn't say 100 degrees on the thermometer for what it said 97. I was like, we're making progress.
Absolutely. I believe that first 90-degree high day in September, man, is going to hit different this year. We've had such a brutal July and August. So looking forward to those days.
Cody, give us a pulse for what's going on out there. And I know you're all over the place in terms of the Valley and talking to coaches and athletes and parents. What's the vibe?
Well, I can tell you, I've been to probably about 12 to 15 campuses now, and the kids are just happy to be out there. I mean, you see pure enjoyment from the student athletes and the coaches, just being able to run around on the field. A lot of these teams are transitioning into phase 3 now, so they're able to do some one-on-one drills, able to throw the ball around here and there. Still no contact or anything like that, but just the pure enjoyment of getting to be able to get outside and play the game they love. And this is in 115, 117 degree days after school's out, and they still love it. So just to see that as a sports fan and someone who also loves the game of football is really good to see.
Now, Cody, did you actually get to speak with any of the football players during your travels, and what did they exactly have to say about things in this new era, if you will?
Well, I mean, just like everybody else, you got to adapt, right? And so it's been a really weird last 4 to 5 months, obviously in our country. But they just said you got to take the pieces. So these athletes are in our state, especially, they're guys who want to get better every single day. So obviously the training was a lot different. A lot of these people weren't able to go to the gym, but just doing the outside workouts, continuously working 2-a-days on their own, not having coaches, right? Just guide them because they weren't able to meet for so long. But just having that drive to get better. So yeah, it was different, but at the same time, we're talking about competitors and some of the best competitors in the entire state. And so they want to get better. They found ways to get better, and it's all about adapting.
Cody, are there colleges out here recruiting now, or have they been doing things virtually?
No, sir. Everything has been dead period, and so the NCAA has continued to push dead period for so many months now, and we saw that really affect recruiting in the spring when the spring eval period with all of our high schools doing all the showcases. Now, they weren't able to do that because of obviously the pandemic and college football extending their dead period. And I think that really hurt the class of 2021 and the class of 2022 when you talk about recruiting, because film doesn't lie. These coaches, everything they're doing now is virtual. It's all virtual tours, virtual meetings, FaceTimes. But you still, a lot of these coaches, they want kids to pass the look test. And they want to get in front of a student athlete and see, okay, he meets my tangibles. He can move well. Like, I'm going to trust the film, but still I want to see the player. Can't do that right now because of dead period. So there's no coaches out here recruiting. Everything is virtual. I think that's really changed the aspect of recruiting. And in terms of that, kids are starting to commit extremely early this year.
With the coronavirus numbers continuing to take a downward trend here in Arizona, thankfully, did you get the sense while you were out and about, Cody, that people feel that we're going to actually get this high school football season in? That we're like, I think we're 6 weeks out right now from the debut, which, shameless plug, will be the Thursday night football game of the week for the JV Sports Show. That's right. But did you get the sense that people say, you know what, I think this is going to happen. We're going to continue to work hard and we're going to make this happen in another 6 weeks.
Funny, man, because mostly I spend my time in the East Valley. My office is in East Mesa. And so most of the teams I go see are in the East Valley. I've seen almost every single Chandler Unified school, a lot of Southeast Valley football, and all those coaches in the East Valley, they're telling me football, they're planning on football being a go. And I'm not saying all the programs in the state aren't doing that, because you got to prepare like you're going to play a game in October. But we still have school districts in the West Valley and Phoenix Union that aren't allowing these teams to meet. And so those coaches' mentalities are a little bit different. I go to a Chandler Unified school, and these guys are getting after it. You know, obviously not in pads or anything like that, but I mean, they're installing all these plays and they're getting the chemistry down with the quarterbacks and running backs and receivers. And you got teams in Phoenix Union, these kids still can't meet. So that mentalities of the West Valley coaches, I got to feel for them, man, because they haven't been able to do the same thing as a lot of these East Valley coaches. And it is what it is. You know, it just has to do with their school districts. But when I talk to a lot of these East Valley coaches, man, I kind of see that as like the SEC conference, and they're going to go no matter what. Their school districts have their back and support.
Cody, my understanding in speaking to some of the administrators around the Valley is that this upcoming week is going to be a critical week with the AIA, and that they're going to be essentially issuing the schedules. What are the schedules going to look like? I know it's going to be a condensed season, but are they going to basically, you know, looking at the prior schedule that was released, are they going to say, okay, look, on this date, you were going to play this team on October 2nd, and that's going to be the schedule the remaining year? Or are they going to mix it up and change things from there, and it's not going to be the same thing? How's that going to look?
So what I've been told and what I've seen from the AIA, it's like that October schedule they've kept. And when you get into October, a lot of those are region games anyway, so you don't have too much travel. Now, you still have some Southern Arizona teams traveling up, and the AIA has said, because I know some of the Tucson districts said, hey, we feel more comfortable if we just stay in Tucson and play these teams. The problem is you still have 4A through 6A teams down there, and you can't have 6A programs playing some of these 4A schools. So eventually you're going to have to travel up and play some of these Phoenix Metro teams if you're Southern Arizona. So I think in terms of travel, you'll still see teams travel a little bit. But for the most part, those region games in October should stay, in my opinion, because those are locked and loaded anyways. Like the Mesa Unified schools, should still play each other if you're close. And Chandler Unified, Chandler should still play Hamilton at the end of the year. It just makes sense. You have 3 miles down the street, your 2A, 6A schools. But in terms of the September and August teams, I don't know if they're going to take like those first 3 games and just attach it to the back end of the schedule. I don't know what's going to happen. The AAA has luckily they've had months to try to plan for this and schedule it like that, so they don't have any scheduling conflicts. But yeah, we're going to see this week is huge because not only the schedule, but you have the third-party medical committee that they put together, and they're going to implement fan rules and they're what they should expect a game to look like and all these things.
So we got a big week coming up. We're looking for some information, Vince, and we might be able to go ahead and start shuffling that Thursday night football schedule around. Cody, before we let you go here, I have to get your thoughts on the 6A state runner-up Red Mountain Mountain Lions. Go.
I love it, man. I mean, you have a senior class led by George Ramirez, one of the best athletes in the entire state. I will say this, Red Mountain has a couple class of 2023, so incoming sophomores. I know it's really, really early, and I'm a man that really likes to watch varsity tape. But they got 2 kids out there, Lennox Lawson and Jacoby Lane, who look like the absolute real deal. Lennox, obviously the younger brother of Lance Lawson, a great Red Mountain football player, and he looks phenomenal. He might be probably more athletic than his older brother, but Jacoby Lane, he'll have 10 to 15 Power 5 offers at the wide receiver position. Mark my words, in a couple of years.
There you have it. You heard it here first on the JV Sports Show.
All right. Thank you, Cody, for joining us. Cody Cameron from AZ Varsity. Cody, thanks again. We look forward to having you back and getting your expert advice and opinions on all things high school football here in the state of Arizona. Thanks again, Cody.
No problem, gentlemen. Have a good one.
Always good to see you, brother. Take care.
So another great show, James. And coming up next, we've got Easy Sports, Ed Smith. And today sitting in with Ed is our old friend, Ed Cole.
Oh, how about that? Tune in and check that out. That's going to be a great one.
You don't want to miss out what Ed is. You could see his smile through a broadcast.
Yes,
I don't think I've ever seen anything other than a smile on his face.
You can. That's exactly right.
Great show.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Thanks to our special guest for joining us today, Coach Wagner from Perry Volleyball. And we also spoke with Ben Wilson from the Mountain West Conference, the UNLV Lady Running Rebels play-by-play voice. And Cody Cameron in our last segment there from Arizona Varsity, giving us a little update on Arizona high school football. Looks like it's moving forward, Vince. Unfortunately, as Cody mentioned, some of those West Valley schools still kind of in a phase 1 or even a phase 0 at this point. But hopefully we'll get things kicking and get everybody up to the same speed. So we'll see.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you to our partners, Steps of Movement, Ron Sowers, Training Better Athletes, Angel Dentistry, Vetsville Contracting, Sal's Gilbert Pizza. Thanks again. Thanks to all our guests, our friends, Kevin Derryberry with his extended clip tribute, 1 year congratulatory message. Tune in, folks. Join us next week. Listen to our archived podcast, Amazon, Alexa, iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud. Thanks again. Thanks to our board operator, Aaron. And thanks to you, our listeners. We'll be back next week on the JV Sports Show.
Week. Wash those hands, wear a mask, and we'll see you next Saturday.
You should wash your hands anyway, James.
Every time, Vince.
Go, JV. All right. Thanks, Aaron.
See ya.
All right, let me get off this.
All right, let me go stop the live stream.
Oh.